Joe Volpe, publisher of Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian-language daily newspaper, here on behalf of GOliveTV and Corcan Media Group with the comment of the day. Now, unless you've been hidden away someplace, the only thing that's in the news in these last several days is what's happening at a once fabled school, St. Michael's College. It's time for that community to act. It's time for St. Mike's community to act or be trampled. I spoke yesterday to an old friend of mine, and this is what he said. St. Mike's is redeemable. That's what the Honorable Dennis Mills, former Member of Parliament, St. Michael's alumnus from the 1960s, an entrepreneur, social activist, a devotee of the traditions and values of the Basilian order. He's obviously got a stake in everything, but he's almost alone in his optimism. Never better is his trademark response to the usual polite salutation of, well, how are you? Now, Mr. Mills once filled the role of communications director for Prime Minister Trudeau in the difficult early years of the 1980s. He has seen both the good and the bad of communications in times of stress. For St. Mike's, this is the ugly, although he won't say so. From our perspective at the Corriere, the administration and the board at St. Mike's confused crisis management with media containment. It should have been an elementary first step to acknowledge the problem, express sincere contrition, acknowledge culpability, then lay out a plan of action to remediate and to do penance. Crisis Management 101. In Catholic practice, the above is all contained in the sacrament of confession. The Basilian fathers on the board should be well versed with that process. Have they abandoned the strictures of the Basilian traditions? How did they miss all of this? If nothing else, religion is a guide, a moral compass for our daily lives. The rites of Catholicity stress repetition, for it is by doing that we learn. The athletic department, yes, even the academic, is steeped in the concept of practice makes perfect. Maybe that should be perfect practice makes perfect. Being a leader in an academic environment involves more than the ability to cover your backside. Mr. Reeves, the principal, is under the continuous glare of light being shone upon him and the faculty. I don't know. Maybe he may be a nice guy, but he's not doing the school community any favors. He's not there to shield staff or students from scrutiny. The issue has exploded well beyond that. The escalation of the number of videos, victims, and witnesses that are surfacing literally by the hour call for decisive action. This isn't a time for people to think only of themselves, but to concentrate the mind on the very real probability that St. Mike's may not have a graduating class in 2019 or beyond. Parents are already scrambling to find alternative schools for their boys. It is probably a safe bet that there will be a steep drop in applications for admissions in this coming year, and likely a collapse in the number of students who will stay on after Christmas. Yesterday, at a previously scheduled alumni club meeting, here's what the attendees should have heard. First, the academic program is canceled immediately for the rest of the year. Secondly, the athletic director has either resigned or been fired. Third, the principal has announced his resignation effective immediately. Fourth, the board of directors announces the resignation of its chair-president. These are actions that would represent some sort of contrition. Then, and only then, whatever is left of the board or the Basilian order should announce that as penance, the school will waive the tuition fees for the last half of the year for all students who close out the year at the school. St. Michael's can afford it. There's a $10 million difference between income from tuition and revenue and expenditures for staff. Mr. Mills may indeed find himself to be a solitary figure in his confidence that St. Mike's is redeemable. I suspect he'll be like John the Baptist, wandering alone in the desert. Both are good guys. Joe Volpe, on behalf of Corriere Media Group and GOliveTV, asking you to stand by, and we'll go into an Italian version of the commentary. Follow us online, or obviously Corriere Canadese hard copy. Thank you.